Ladies and gentlemen, come on in, come on in. How's it going, guys? My name is Thomas Brush. I make indie games for a living. Today's going to be a fun live stream. What we're going to do is we're going to jump inside of Unity and we're going to take a look at the progress we've made on this dog game that we're working on. In particular, we're going to be focusing on elements that we can add to our scene to make things look a lot more polished than they currently do. And I think it's important to note, a lot of games out there, including Mario Odyssey, the Zelda franchise, a lot of Nintendo games especially, they lean on something called post-processing, and that's what makes their games look so good. When you remove the post-processing, and especially if you remove the lighting, things look flat and boring, and you can kind of see through the, I guess, the magic of what happens inside the camera. So we're going to talk about that and jump inside of Unity and get started. Let's go. By the way, guys, feel free to download my free 2D game kit below. It's totally free. It's my treat to you. I used this exact 2D game kit to make a game for PewDiePie in 14 days, and then I got to play it in front of his subscribers, which was really awesome. So download that. Use it however you want. It's my treat to you. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys, things are really coming along. Excuse me. With our dog game, okay? So this is what we've currently got. It's really coming together. And believe it or not, the inspiration behind this entire scene, by the way, this scene is a mess. Like we're just throwing objects around, getting everything set up as prefabs so that we can actually build out a level. So this is definitely a mess, but all of the objects we've created here are inspired by Downton Abbey. Downton Abbey is one of my favorite shows. I love the shallow drama. I love the music. I love the classical feel of it. I love that old early 1900s feel, and that's evident in my work for my previous game. So this is what we've got currently. So let me go ahead and hit play for you and show you kind of what we've got currently working for us in this scene. All right. So there's still plenty to do in terms of cleaning up the scene, obviously, but when it comes to the color palette, when it comes to the lighting, I'm feeling pretty good about this scene. And this is a lot of hard work with me and Felipe. Felipe is our 3D modeler. We're going to go ahead and just start knocking out a few things to make this scene really pop. One of the first things you want to do is make sure your character controller matches the world around your character controller, right? Right now, the color of this dog, something is off. It just doesn't feel right. I think it's because he's too bright. There we go. So just pull the brightness down just a tad. And then also, we're going to go ahead and change his rim lighting to be a little bit more vibrant. Okay, there we go. Just like this. Awesome. That's it right there. Okay, so everything is looking really awesome. And by the way, guys, materials will save when you're in play mode. Now, this looks great, right? Looks pretty cool. Very stylized. Looks a lot like something like Wind Waker or the Mario games. But we can make this look 10 times better with one thing, okay? And we sort of stole this idea from, I mean, plenty of games have it, but the one game that utilizes it really, really well is actually Skyward Sword, which is, you know, it's debatable, but I think it's a terrible Zelda game. But I love the mood and the music and the art style of that game. So here's what you do. We're going to create shadows rolling along the ground from the clouds to give that ambience. And it is so easy to do this. All we're going to do is go to the directional light here. And this is with help from Felipe. Felipe is my team's 3D modeler. And he just said, hey, Thomas, throw a cookie onto the directional light. So we're going to type in shadow. We've got cloud shadows here. Let's double click and let's take a look. So if you're looking at something from the distance, it's not the greatest thing ever. And it kind of looks a lot like an old N64 game. But I feel like once we start adding texture to these hills with more and more grass, so for example, if I go to my paintbrush here and I do something like this and maybe add some faint dirt, very subtle dirt, it's not going to be as obvious. But overall, I think we're okay. I'm not too worried about distance because we're not going to have a flat hill like this. But let me show you how it looks within the context of, let's say, a village. So let's hit play here and take a look. So now you can see, despite the game having a ton of toon textures, we've got a very subtle ambient feel, and you don't quite know what it is. Again, let me show you. Let's turn on our direction. Let's go to our directional light here. This is our sun. If we remove the cookie, so this is with the cookie, and this is with it off. So you can see it adds a lot of depth, and it's kind of subconscious, right? I want to show you how we're going to make it even more apparent that there's beautiful clouds rolling over the hills. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a script, and it's going to be a lot like the rotator script, which is just a generic script that we can add to anything, and it's going to rotate objects on the update loop, okay? So we're going to create a new script, and it's going to be called translator. Whoop. I don't know where it went, but okay. Let's create a new script here, call it translator. Translator. Okay, let's double click on it. And all it's going to do is translate an object across the scene in perpetuity. That means forever and ever and ever. I learned that from my lawyer. Most of you know what that means. I get it. But I did not know what that meant. And my lawyer said, do you want the intellectual property for perpetuity? It means forever. Okay. So let's create a new serialized field. And it's going to be a private float, and it's going to be called speed. Okay. And all we need to do is transform dot translate, and we're going to translate at that speed. So we just need to do the translation. So I'm cool with just forward. So transform dot forward. We're going to multiply it times speed times time delta time. That's it. Okay. We're going to throw that on our directional light. Oddly, I don't think a directional light, its position doesn't mean anything. It's meaningless. The only thing that matters for a directional light is the rotation. The reason this is the case for a lot of indie game, or for all games, is because the sun is so far away that if it was moving subtly, you wouldn't even notice, right? It's that far away. So you're trying to sort of mimic that with a directional light. I could be mistaken there with my logic, but I think it's correct. So let's go ahead and throw this script translator onto our directional light. Okay. And I'm going to move the flare outside of that directional light because I don't want the flare following the directional light. Okay. The flare is the sun flare, right? So I'm actually going to move it outside of the directional light here, and we're going to have to find that flare. I don't know where it is. There it is. Okay, good. So there's our flare. So if we move our directional light, it doesn't matter. The flare will remain. I do think, though, that if we rotate it, the flare is still not going to follow it. If we put it inside, let's see here. If we put the flare inside our directional light and we rotate it, oh, look, the flare went away. There it is. Okay. So if we move it, oh, good. Awesome. So wait. Yeah, okay, if we move the directional light, the flare doesn't care. That rhymes. The flare doesn't care, oddly enough. So this is good news. So we can translate our sun, at least the cookie of the sun, across, and all we're doing is making the shadow move. And the flare is not going to care, right? That's good news. Okay, so I think we're good here. What we want to do, though, is we're going to rotate this flare down. Actually, can we move it down a little bit? We can't. Okay. What about rotate it down? Oh, good. Okay, so we could put the sun about right here, despite the fact that the directional light, his rotation is not as intense. So rotation is really the value that a directional light cares about, right? Let's see if we can, let's see if we can rotate our directional light here and get some more shadows. So I'm not seeing any shadows. Why do I not see any shadows? Uh-oh, we got ourselves a problem. Let's zoom in here. Let's remove our cookie. Oh my goodness. So a cookie removes shadows. That is not good. Oh man, we just sort of that sucks. That actually really sucks. We're gonna have to do it. Look, the cookie removes the shadows. Is that true? This can't be true. I think it is true. That's not good. Well, I see a shadow there. Let's see here. Guys, you want to help me out here? Does anybody have any ideas about whether the cookie removes shadows? I feel like we need 2 directional lights. That's it. That's it. We need a directional light which handles the shadows of the clouds and a directional light that handles the shadows of the world. Right? Right. Okay, let me turn on my fan really quick. It's getting so hot. By the way, guys, if you haven't downloaded that free 2D game kit below, be sure to check it out. It's my treat to you. Use this game kit to make a game however you like. Make as much money off the game kit as you want. I really don't care. It's my treat to you. I use this game kit to make a game for PewDiePie in just 14 days, and I got to play it with PewDiePie on his channel, so it's a legit game kit. All right, I'm going to turn my fan on. All right. So let's see here. I think that we're gonna have trouble here. So basically, I want to have shadows, but I also want to have the cookie. All right. So I think we need 2 directional lights, which we're just gonna try it out. Okay. So we have a regular directional light. There's no cookie. Okay. So that's our sun. We're gonna type directional light sun, and then we're gonna type directional light. This one's not gonna have a flare. This one's gonna be directional light. Shadows, or cloud shadows. Okay, so that's the theory. The theory is that, and it's not going to draw shadows. Well, no. We're going to add a cookie, which is going to be the cloud shadows. So the theory here is 2 types of shadows. That's cool looking already. If we remove this one, okay, let's see, where are our shadows here? Let's turn off the cookie here. So let's just start with the sun. Okay, the sun casts shadows. Looks awesome. The shadows aren't very dark, though. Isn't that interesting? I don't know why. I wish they were a little bit darker, a little bit harsher. Good. Let's go to our quality settings really quick here and take a look. Yes, our shadow distance needs to be set to 300. Set it pretty high. I know that's dangerous, but we're going to do it just for now. And the next thing I'm going to do is the clouds. So see, now we've got a combo. Isn't that great, guys? So we're going to turn the intensity down to 0.5. And in fact, we could probably combine the 2. So we could do something like 0.5 here, and then this one is a little too intense. So what if we did 0.5 here? Right? That's an idea. I'm thinking 0.6 here, or maybe even 0.8. And then now we have our shadows, and we're going to set this to 100. Okay. I believe. Okay, let's turn it off and see what it looks like. Okay, you can't really tell. Maybe set it to 25 or 50. Okay. So there we go. Let's turn on the translator here. And actually, let's really address the contrast here. We want a big, intense contrast for our shadows. All right. Let's open that up in Photoshop here. Okay, let's add some serious contrast. So I'm going to remove this layer. This layer is over top of it, so it doesn't really allow for much contrast. So we're going to remove that one. And now we're going to get a lot more intense shadows. That's the theory, at least, right? So I can see a pretty good amount here. There we go. But I want to see the shadows of everything else, too. And we can here, so that's good. Let's hit play and just make sure everything looks good. I want it to look comparable to what it was. Good. The shadows are just not dark enough. If I increase the intensity, you can see the shadows a little bit better. But now it causes a problem because we're basically 2 suns. So I think we could probably just set it to 1, actually. Yep, that's fine. And we have this directional light for the clouds. So what I'm going to do is just see if I can increase the contrast even more here. There's a point of sort of diminishing returns, though. But we're going to do something like that and see what we get. Yes. Okay, good, good. Oh, thank you, Lord. All right, so now what we can do is scale it up to about 100. There you go. Good, good, good. And those are our cloud shadows. Now, they don't look like cloud shadows, do they? And it's because they're not moving. So that's great. We're going to make sure it's set to 100 here. We're going to make sure this is set to 1. Good. So now we have these beautiful cloud shadows here. And we're going to add that translator value. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to move this over actually to here. There we go. Let's set it to like 100. Okay. So now the cloud shadows are moving. Good. All right. So now it's obvious that there's clouds above us, and it gives us, it's such a weird thing. It gives you a sense of dimensionality despite not even seeing into the sky, right? So let's do something like 25 or maybe even just 6. Yeah, there we go. Look at that, guys. So obviously stuff like this, it takes very little time and it adds a ton of dimension and more importantly, ambience and mood. As an indie, it's really important to say, okay, I can't compete with AAA, right? High quality models, tons of realistic graphics, right? Sure, you can make a small game, but to make a bigger, like 6-hour game, that's tough. But you can create mood. So if you have a, what do you call it, a talent for creating mood, then this is what you should definitely be doing. So I think it looks pretty good. What do you guys think here? What do you think here? I really like it. So it's a little bright, but I don't know. Let's see here. I kind of like it. I'm not too worried about it. So I feel like the sun shafts or the shadows of the world should be soft shadows, not hard shadows. So there's more blending occurring between the shadows of, for example, this tent here. It should be a little bit softer. And then we have this cookie here for the lights. I freaking love it. Very, very cool. Okay, what about our sun shaft? Do we have any, or our lens flare? Where is our lens flare? That's the next question here. There it is, right there. Okay, and it's pretty much congruent with the shadows, so that's good. All right, guys. Very, very good. Anything else that we're forgetting here? That was just too easy. I feel like the trees could probably blow in the wind a little bit more. What we're doing for this live stream is we're just adding mood, ambience and mood, ambience and mood. If you could do that, you're going to set yourself up for success because, well, quite frankly, a lot of AAA games, they don't get mood down. A lot of indie games do. It's an odd thing. At least that's my opinion. So if we set the strength pretty high for the wind and the speed for our wind here, this is just a shader. You can barely see it. Let's remove my little face here. So there's our shader with our wind. We're using Colors Pro 2, and there's a whole like shader creator, which I really like. So I need to fix the, oopsie, let me kill you really quick. The clouds we need to fix here. That's a little too intense. Okay. So we're going to do something along the lines of the speed being something like 4. Okay, good. Let's fix the directional light. That is the shadows. Let's go ahead and move it down to something like 6, right? I'm going to apply all these changes to our prefab here so that every single, oh, and also the shadows. So they need to be soft. Every single time we use the startup game object, it's going to include all these features. So you just drag it into a scene and hopefully the scene works, right? Okay, now I'm going to find a few issues. I'm going to look around. There's certain things that are occurring that I just don't really like, that don't fit the mood. And I can't put a finger on them, but we're just going to look at how everything looks here and we're going to try and figure out what's bothering me. There's something that's bothering me and I don't know what it is. So I think it might be the brightness of the dog. It might be bloom as well. So let's see if we can tweak the post-processing. By the way, this is another thing I wanted to show you guys. If you remove the post-processing, this is depressing. Get ready. When you remove the post-processing, all that talent you thought you had, you realize it's all fake. Watch this. It's just not feeling good. And this isn't a slight on me or Felipe. This is just the way it goes. When you've got all these models that are super simplistic, and that's the goal, super simplistic models, you kind of have to lean on post-processing. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? Alrighty. So far things are looking good, but there's just a few things that are bothering me, and I'm curious what those are. Let's take a look. What's bugging me? Okay, I think it's the dog. So let's bring down his intensity just a tad in the shader. There we go. So if we go in the shadows, he looks all right. And if we go in the bright sunlight, he looks pretty good too. So overall, not too shabby. I think I might have an idea of what's going on with the shadows. The shadow intensity, I just figured it out. The shadow intensity of the terrain is in the material, not the directional light. So here's another way to add ambience and mood. Watch this. If you go to my favorite artist, Ivan Earl, what do you guys see in these images? What really makes these images? And by the way, this is the guy who we're trying to mimic. Okay, what do you guys see in these screenshots here that makes it so unique? Clearly, there's a ton of simplicity, right? What about this one makes it look so moody and ambient? What is that? It's these hard shadows. Okay, so let's try and mimic that. Currently, we've got very soft edges are fine, but there's not a lot of intensity. So what you need to do when you're working with any object that's using obviously a material is you can hopefully tweak the shadow color within that material. So let's crank it down. There we go. Man, oh my goodness. Everything looks so much better now. Look at that. Awesome. What if we change the color here to something like that, allowing for the highlight color to be pretty vibrant? Oh man, that was what it was. That's what was bugging me, guys. So now these shadows are a lot more ambient. Very, very moody. I love it. Okay, we probably need to just bring them up just a tad. I think they're a little too much. So we're just going to go a little bit higher here. Perfect. Oh my word. That just changed everything. That is great. Very, very good. Okay, let's take a look at a few more issues that I have. Let's see here. Let's just run around and try and figure out a few issues. Dithering is a big problem. You can still see ambient occlusion with the dithering. It really bugs me. You can see it right there. You can see the ambient occlusion coming through the dithering, and that's just problematic. I'm not so sure how to even handle that. I'm gonna make a request with Felipe, actually. Felipe is our 3D modeler. One of the things I want to ask him to do is, I'm on Discord right now. I just don't want to show you guys Discord. What we're going to ask Felipe, our 3D modeler, to do is, can you ensure that the square trees textures are more random? They line up too perfectly. Okay? And I'll show you guys what I mean here. I'm going to see if he can do that really quick for us. Here's my screen here. So you can see, if you look closely at this, what makes this tree kind of look a little bit odd is the texturing is layered perfectly. And they should be offset every single layer. Okay, so we're going to get that fixed. Is there anything else we want to do with this scene to make it look better? Does anybody have any ideas? Beautiful. It's just looking so good. I'm very, very happy with what we've achieved here. This is definitely the mood that we're going for. I have a huge problem with the dithering, and it's been bugging me for a long time. Like, the post-processing effects are happening before the dither occurs, and I really want the dithering to occur after, and I cannot figure out how to do it. It's hard to explain, but like, basically when I get behind something, the post-processing gets screwed up. See that? And I don't know how to fix it. So Okay. Well, I think that's everything. Maybe up the ambient occlusion a little to coincide with your new darker shadows. Jason Story, welcome to the chat, bro. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Hope you're enjoying your channel. I know you're working hard on your channel and releasing videos. Guys, if you haven't followed Jason Story, be sure to follow Jason Story on the... just go to YouTube and search Jason Story. It's JASONSTOREY. I'm going to turn off these shadows for the flowers, okay? Those shadows were looking a little weird. Granted, I do think there's a better way to go about this. The shadows were wrong, right? Hold on. Wait. Step forward. Yeah, we need to go here, okay? Let's jump inside here and take a look at the material for the flowers. If we set them to cutout or transparent, maybe that'll help the shadows. Let's take a look here. No, it doesn't fix it. It doesn't fix it. Okay, so we're gonna keep the shadows off, and make sure we change it to fade. All right, guys. Yeah. Jason says add some more ambient occlusion. The problem with the ambient occlusion I'm currently using, and we're not using URP, by the way, and that's Universal Render Pipeline. We're actually using the basic or like the standard render pipeline. The ambient occlusion really, really sucks, okay? But I'm going to try Jason's thoughts here and increase the intensity. So it just looks weird. So I feel like we need to set it to like medium or high. It's just so bad. Downsample. Man, I don't know, guys. High precision. That does look better. That does look better. Decrease the radius. Let's do it high intensity, decrease the radius, and see what kind of... Yeah, and the grass is kind of getting screwed up too. Yeah. It's one of those things where I feel like if we have a little bit... Yeah, I don't really like that. Let's see here. And it's also, like I said, it's happening in a weird way in relationship to the shaders. I don't really like... Yeah. Ugh. Makes me want to throw up. It almost makes me want to just turn off dithering entirely. But... Yeah. Sorry, Jason. You're right. The ambient occlusion does feel off, but I don't know what to do with it. High precision is great. So maybe turn on high precision. I just know it's going to slow things down. But man, looking through dithered objects is such a disgusting, horrible thing. It's so bad. Does anybody know how to solve that? I know that's a really hard question, but essentially our shaders have a dithering feature, but the problem is that dithering is occurring after it's occurring before post-processing is written onto the screen. So I'm getting some trouble there. So yes, the effects are going to be expensive. Correct. The goal is to get something gorgeous, pitch it to a publisher, and then if we get, let's say, a deal with Apple, then we circle back and we say, whoa, we need to tone the graphics down. And by deal with Apple, I mean if Apple wants to, feature this game on Apple Arcade, it's worth the downgrade of graphics, But overall, this looks great here. The shader is causing a lot of spottiness and sharp lines. This is from Jason's Story. It is unfortunate when shaders clash. I rescind my suggestion. Oh, man. Okay. Well, let's see here. We have maybe a little bit of depth of field stuff we can do here. Just to really get this depth of field. I can't see it for some reason. Why is that? Let me hit play. Excuse me. I think actually depth of field is fine. Let's see here. I think it looks fine. I don't want it to be too blurry. So I think we're good. Okay, guys. The only thing I'm struggling with, I cannot get this out of my head, is how bad this dithering is. It's like so bad. I'm curious about something here. What if we just make it so that the camera collides with colliders a little bit better? Okay, so let's go ahead and fix this. Using the current camera system we have, well, we've got if we go to our default camera here, we have a Cinemachine Collider, and it will collide with things, right? We want it to collide with default objects and ground objects, okay? Let's check, first and foremost, let's see what avoid obstacles means. It says, when enabled, we'll attempt to resolve situations where the line of sight to the target is blocked by an obstacle. Sure. What is distance limit? The maximum raycast distance when checking if the line of sight to this camera's target is clear. If the setting is 0 or less, the current actual distance to target will be used. Oh, I like that. Okay. So keeping it at 0, it will resolve it for us. See that? Oh, beautiful. Look. See that? So the moment you get behind something, it fixes it. It's kind of a pain in the butt, though. Look at that. That's so bizarre. Not a fan. Not a fan. All right, avoid obstacles. Let's turn that off and see what we get. Avoid obstacles is essentially, it just turns it off, oddly. Yeah. Bugging me. I don't like the dithering. It's so bad. Okay, let's turn it back on. Avoid obstacles. I'm going to move my ugly little mug here to over here, and we're going to flip ourselves. There we go. So let's take a look and see what kind of beautiful things we can do here. I'm going to turn on avoid obstacles. I wonder if we can smooth it, though. You know, like we can say, there's so many smooth values here that it's confusing. Strategy. Pull camera forward. Okay. Whoa! It's ridiculous. Preserve camera distance. Oh, so it'll rotate. Interesting. That's an interesting thing. Okay. Trying to figure out what Mario does. Let's add a little bit of smoothing too. Smoothing time. So it sort of goes under things, which is really cool. Let's turn up the smoothing time significantly and see if it does anything. It doesn't. I don't get that. What is smoothing time? It doesn't tell you. Damping when occluded. Okay, let's try this out. That doesn't help at all. I don't want it to go through things. What? What's maximum effort mean? Okay. Man, minimum distance to target would be something like a value of, you could do 10 maybe. Let's try that. Man, I don't know, guys. I'm going to reset these values. I'm going to change. I'm going to remove this and see what we can do here. Cinemachine Collider. I'm not a huge fan of the Cinemachine Collider. Huh. Oh, we got to do it here. We got to add it. Extensions. Cinemachine post-processing. What's that? What is that? I don't know what that is. Let's open it up. I'm curious what this is. I just saw it. What is Cinemachine post-processing? I'm going to look it up really quick. Oh my word. Okay. Anyway, apparently you can put post-processing on Cinemachine as opposed to the camera itself, which is interesting. But let's go ahead and add a collider here. See if this helps. Default, good, and also ground. Collide against default and ground. I'm adding it back to the way it was because I screwed up all the settings. I never encountered this in Mario. I never had, it never collided with anything. Everything just dithers in Mario. So I may just remove the collider altogether. What do you guys think? Yeah, like it's like certain stuff like the tree here, I just don't see the value in having it. I just need dithering to work perfectly. That's all I need. And it doesn't, and that's the problem. If we remove the collider here, you could just see through it, right? Which is fine. It's just seeing through stuff is a real pain. What about this over here? If I go through this wall, how does it look? And I'll show you guys if you turn off post-processing off of the main camera, it doesn't look bad. See? That doesn't look bad. It's just when you turn on post-processing, you just see a lot of weird artifacts. So I don't know, man. It's been bugging me for about 2 weeks now. So I don't really know what to do about it. Thomas Brush, use Cinemachine Clear Shot. What's that? Cinemachine Clear Shot. What is that? Clear Shot requires a collider extension to rank the shots. Either add one to the clear... Okay. All right, we'll see. Okay, what does Clear Shot do? We'll remove this one. I'm going to apply all this. What is Clear Shot? Default has, okay, virtual camera default has multiple Cinemachine virtual camera base derived components, disabling Cinemachine Clear Shot. What? What does that mean? I don't know what that means, guys. Oh, it's a different type of camera. Okay. It's just the dithering. Well, guys, not really sure what to do about it. Kind of at a loss here. Let me poll you guys. What games out there, what games that can I take a look at to get an idea of why you would have the camera collide with objects that sort of give an inspiration? Does every game do it? Or is it like certain objects? So like the ground, it'll move around the ground, but it won't collide with, let's say, trees, and it'll just sort of dither through the trees. Okay. Man, that's tough. I'm trying to think it through. Like, we don't want this, right? We don't want that. I feel like, yeah. Maybe it's just the settings, you know? Maybe I just need really good settings for the collider. Let's bring it back. We're going to reset the values. We want it to default with or collide with everything. That's fine for now. Actually, we're just going to do default and grass. Default and ground. All right. Ignore tag, transparent layers, good. Minimum distance from target. Obstacles closer to the target than this will be ignored. I bet you there's a video on the perfect Cinemachine Collider settings third person camera. Okay. Man, I don't know, guys. Compute penetration.html is a good addition to camera collisions. Preserve line of sight features be doing a lot of work. I've logged an issue. Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading this right now. Using a clear shot group with 4 cameras low to high with the middle set of top priority. Okay. So clear shot, one of you mentioned it. Is that it? Let's take a look. Clear shot, Cinemachine. What is it? Using Cinemachine clear shot. Let's watch a video. You guys ready?
In this video, we're going to take a look at Cinemachine's clear shot feature. We're going to look at how the ClearShot and Cinemachine Collider components allow us to cut between virtual cameras dynamically to follow a target as they move around the scene. In this scene, we have our character and we can click to move them around. I'm currently using a single virtual camera to track them. It's traditional in an adventure game such as this one to have a variety of different cameras scattered around the environment and then to cut between them based on the character's position in the scene. Cinemachine's clear shot feature and shot evaluation system makes it fast and easy for us to achieve this result. To get started, we'll add a clear shot component to our hierarchy. Let's choose Cinemachine,
okay.
Create,
Yeah, I get it. I get it. It's too complicated for. I know. I'm being immature here. It's just too complicated for an indie game. It's just not. To me, it's not worth it. So we just need to be thinking of a better use of our time here. Part of me has a theory that we're not going to be able to see. That's not bad. I mean, it's pretty janky. We're going to ignore the tree tags. So I feel like what we want to do instead is just have a few things that do block the camera, but most things don't. So like walls, I don't even know if those should be. I feel like it should be just the ground tag. Okay, hold on. I know I sound lazy here, but stuff like this, right? Things that are on the ground. The terrain. That's the ground tag, or the layer. I don't even know if we need to have the walls. It's mainly just the house that bugs me. So houses like this, which are prefabbed. Yeah, all these houses here. Yep. All of them will be default, or the layer will be ground. So if we hit play here, certain things we're not going to worry about. So like the camera going through this right here, not a problem. I don't mind. The camera going through... Yeah, the camera can't go through the house though. So it'll reposition itself. See? It's not bad. I really don't mind it. Going through trees, not a big deal. Going through that is a big deal. Okay, going through that, not a big deal. What about going through this? Doesn't bother me. Okay. So it looks like you just want to be really strategic with what is pushing the camera and what isn't. Obviously, we have the issue of the post-processing effects essentially getting really confused the moment the camera enters into a spot. So it could be, I don't know. No, I don't want to do that. I was going to say you disable them, but we need to figure out a way to have them render properly. So I don't know. But overall, it's not horrible. It's not like the worst thing ever. So stuff like this, all of that needs to be set to the proper layer for, that's not bad, for set to the layer ground. So here's an example. All of these guys here, select, yep, all of this stuff. We're going to tag it. These are all of our platforms. We're going to tag all of these as ground. Or, I'm sorry, set them to the layer of ground. Okay. So now you can see all of them are set to ground. That's good news. So overall, I'm feeling pretty good about that solution. It's not really, what am I saying? I'm kind of at a loss here. I don't think for an indie title, I'm not too worried about having all these different kinds of cameras and worried about the camera cutting through this. It's not that bad. I really don't mind it. I'm going to check something here, guys. Let's mess with our dither values. And the dither values are associated with the actual object, okay? The actual material on the object. So we have this length, right? And then we also have this threshold. So I'm going to just tweak these values. I'm going to do a threshold of 100. So as we get closer to it, look at that. It's really far away. But also the speed, okay? So there's threshold and there's speed. So if I set the speed to a big number, like 20, I wonder if it's much smoother. And then also set this to 20. Okay. It's not terrible. Obviously, you know, you don't want it fading away that much. The red we need to tweak as well. Let's see here. Let's set it to a threshold of 10 and a length of 30. Cool. So you kind of see through it, and it doesn't look terrible either. Okay. That's pretty interesting. What happens if I do it to the brick here? Okay. If the camera gets, again, what do we got here? We have this red value. The red value is set to, okay, 10, what was it? $20 and $20, okay? Let's do it with this here. Let's do it with the brick and take a look. So we're learning together, guys. Because I'm not so sure. Okay, so look at that. The moment we get close, it starts to do something weird. See that? I wonder why that is. Man, it's so frustrating. Is it the rim lighting? I'm going to turn off all of this stuff. Nope. Look at that. Dude, how do we fix this? I have a theory. Instead of completely removing it, what you do we even need dithering? Let's turn off dithering. Interesting. What if we just faded tiny little edges? So here's another option. Just tiny little edges get removed. Like that. Okay, let's try it again. Let's do 5 and 5, 4 and 4. Man, my theory is you don't even need it. You know? That's my theory. My theory is you don't need it. Thank you, Matt H. Matt H says there's tutorials on how to get the camera exactly like Mario Odyssey. I will take a look. Thank you. I just feel like we don't need dithering. I feel like it causes more problems than we want. Or what if you made the length value and then, okay, what if you made this 50 and then the length is 0? So basically what would happen is the moment you get kind of close, it just completely deletes. Okay, what if we made the speed something like 100? This is the most exciting live stream ever, huh? On the bottom of the shader, try to set the render queue to alpha or something to make it render later. That's an interesting idea. Thank you. I didn't even think about that. Why didn't I think about that? I know. Because I'm an idiot. All right, so let's do it for the brick here. We're going to try different render queues here. From geometry, transparent. Nope. Alpha test. 5,000. We could go 0. Try that. No, it doesn't do anything. Oh. Yeah, it doesn't do anything, guys. So, all in all, I think I'm at a loss here. You know, if you can just turn off post-processing, that's the thing. If you just turn it off, it solves everything. It's just beautiful. There's no issues. It looks great. So, I don't know. It's just difficult. No, I don't think it has to do with the shaders influence on the shadow. It's literally post-processing's problem. Because that looks great, you know? It's just the post-processing that's the problem. The biggest culprit for the post-processing that's causing this, I believe, is the ambient occlusion. Yep, it's just ambient occlusion. So the theory is, honestly, my theory is we're just going to bake and not do ambient occlusion. What do you guys think? So instead, we'll just bake the lights and not worry about ambient occlusion. It doesn't look terrible without ambient occlusion. And by the way, ambient occlusion is when you... Oh man, I am so tempted to just not do ambient occlusion. Because it doesn't look that bad without it, and it solves so many problems. It solves a ton of problems. I'll show you. Man, we got to figure this out. My theory is bake the lights. Bake the lights, but then we would have to bake directional lights, which means that we can't use... Oh, freaking... We can't use dynamic... I want to do day-night... Man, I want to do day-night, and that means we're going to need a dynamic directional light. I don't want to switch to URP. Don't make me switch to URP, please. Don't make me switch to URP. I really don't want to switch to URP. Baking lights usually means imprisonment. I mean, we could do a mix, you know. But URP, you know, we can try it. Do you guys want to try it? I really don't want to try it. Tunicolors Pro, no. Tunicolors Pro does not work well with URP. Not at all. Son of a... All right, guys. There's not a lot left that I can do during this live stream without being really annoying. So we're... Is there another asset on the asset store that can handle ambient occlusion for us? Like a post-processing effect that's, I don't know, different? No, it won't. They won't go. They'll only go pink for a little bit. You're saying the textures are going to go pink if we switch to URP? Oh man, let's take a look here. So this has no ambient occlusion. It just looks so flat, you know? But we can do it with baked lights. I actually don't mind it. What do you guys think? Let's give a vote. Ambient occlusion, no ambient occlusion. Ambient occlusion, no ambient occlusion. Ambient occlusion, no ambient occlusion. What's our vote? No Brainer says, can't you add a spherical object right in front of the camera and parent it with some alpha blend for everything but the camera and the ground? What are you talking about? Okay, we like the ambient occlusion. It just adds an extra oomph, right? The problem is that it sucks when you're using dithering. So there's this, we're gonna have to figure this out. And it also really makes the grass look good. Huh. Look at that. So gross. So gross. Is there a way to change the renderer to like not be forward rendering? You know, I don't know. We could try this. Forward. I don't know why this would matter. Go to deferred. So deferred does a lot of weird stuff. It looks totally different. Legacy vertex lit. Wonderful. Yeah, I don't know. Beats me, guys. Just decrease the AO strength. No, I don't want to do that. That's... No. This is game dev right here, just sitting here thinking, you know, what do we do? We could email the shader guy and just say, hey, I'm getting weird artifacts with the dithering. And in fact, you know, if we opened up the shader, let's see here. I wonder what kind of features are there. Let's edit the shader here. So we can go ahead and type in dither. There we go. Injected code for properties. Okay. Camera fade dither. There's the threshold. Okay, what else? We're going to type in, yeah. Let's see. There should be another one. What about camera fade? Is that really the only two things? The two variables in the shader? There's our dither function. I have this theory that all we need to do is just change where it happens, but like in terms of I want it to occur after the post-processing, but I don't know how that works. So yeah, okay guys, I'm gonna head out here. I don't really know what to do. Yeah, I don't know. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. This was really, really fun. I love you. Thanks for helping out. You guys are always really fun and helpful. Sorry that we got a little bit lost in this one. Hopefully, I know that next time we come back, we'll have a solution here. I'll talk to you later. Cheers. Get over here. Get down. Hey, thanks for watching. By the way, if you haven't downloaded that free 2D game kit below, click below. It's my treat to you. I used this game kit to make a game for PewDiePie in 14 days, and I actually got to play it with him in front of his audience, which was really cool. This game kit is totally free. It's my treat to you, and you can use it however you want. You can make a commercial game and make $1 million off this game kit. I don't care. Or you could just use it for a hobby project. It's my treat to you. And by the way, if you haven't clicked like, that would mean a ton to me. Hit subscribe. And also, this is important, hit that notification bell. Here's why. If you get notified of when I'm live, you can watch me make my next game, and let me know in the chat what you think about the game or any ideas you have, and you might just show up. Your chat might just show up in the next video that I upload. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye.